I spent almost a year with my coach, John Patrick Morgan, and everything changed. I want to share my story of the last year and how transformative my life changed. Everything started when I was reading The Ultimate Coach about Steve Hardison a couple of years ago. And in this book, it's about Steve Hardison, the ultimate coach, who is like a really interesting man. And there is a book about him written by his wife, Amy Hardison. And a lot of people in this book were traveling to Arizona to get coached by Steve Hardison. And JP, John Patrick Morgan, who is not the bank guy, it's another one, was traveling there for a year and working with him. So he wrote a testimonial, sort of, about his work with him. And this is the first time when I was introduced to, oh, there is John Patrick Morgan. Who is this guy? I Googled him and I found a couple of YouTube videos about him and also a video about, I think it's an hour long, about him working with Steve Hardison as a coach. So I got interested in JP Morgan, but not to an extent that I wanted to kind of follow deeper. I was watching the videos. I was like, that's interesting, maybe that's helpful in the future. But then I focused somewhere else. And so a year later or so, I again stumbled upon JP Morgan in a way, because Alex, a friend of mine, and here's a little side story. Alex Golda he's an awesome and amazing coach from San Diego. Now he's living in Costa Rica. But back then, and this was 4.5 years ago, I connected with Alex on LinkedIn. And we started this WhatsApp conversation where we were sending multiple WhatsApp voice messages every day to each other for the last 4.5 years. So this is over 6,000 voice messages on WhatsApp, all about how to build your coaching business. And actually this is where me and Alex is working on a book right now. But the point is, I got in touch with Alex, right? And I had this really deep and intensive conversation going on with him. And he said he was joining JP's, John Patrick Morgan's Being Accelerator, which is a year-long program. It's a group program and he's in there and he loves it. And so I was like, interesting. JP Morgan is coming back to my life in a way. So I had a look again and I was not ready to invest that much money to join Being Accelerator, which was kind of $5,000 or $7,000 at this time. But what I found is there is a video course that he's selling. And I was watching a YouTube video and by the end of the video it's like, hey, here is the video course. It's called The 3 Asks, which is all about how to create a prospect living as a coach and like a structure on how to do the enrollment process with your prospect clients. So I thought to myself, okay, let's give this a try. And this was I think a $200 or something product, like an online course, and I got it. I really loved it. I really enjoyed it. There was a lot to process for me. And this is kind of how I got started into the world of JP Morgan. But again, it was like, yes, that's the course, that's cool. Let's try to do something with it. But not really wanting to get deeper in a way. And then it was June last year, or probably it was May 25. And I had a conversation with Alex again, like our daily conversations, the WhatsApp messages. And he said, hey, he's going to the field from JP Morgan. And the field is like a multiple days immersive experience where you fly to Hawaii, to Maui, to his, he calls it happy farm, where he's living with his wife, sitting in a circle for a couple of days and creating miracles. And I was like, cool for you, Alex, that you're going to this event in Hawaii, but there is no way that I'm flying from Austria 25 hours to Hawaii and joining this group. And it was like, I think $7,000, including being part of the Being Accelerator. So yeah, no way that I'm doing that, right? And I forgot about it. And then a couple of days later, I saw a video from JP. He sent me a video on his email where he's walking through his happy farm in Maui and saying, hey, join us. It will be awesome. You know, it's just for a couple of people. And if you feel pulled to it, let's meet you there. And I was watching this video and I don't know what happened, but there almost like a switch turned on in me and this pull towards going to Hawaii was there. And I was like, fuck, I probably need to go there. And I am a guy who is, if I'm committed, I'm 100% committed. You know, I'm taking decisions, not lighthearted, not from my brain, but I'm deciding from my heart. And once my heart says yes, or, you know, my soul or my spirit or God points me in a direction, this is where I'm going. And my whole life, I'm approaching this, and my whole life, this brought me to places and experiences in life that were like the most magical ones. Just, you know, so many things when I was a concert photographer back then, shooting Usher in the desert. And now it's like, hey, what if there's a possibility that I go to Maui for like a week? And I had this idea, and I was hesitant in a way. I wanted to go there, but I thought to myself, hey, I will tell my wife, and she will say, no way, we have 2 little kids, you can't just go to Hawaii for a week or for 10 days. And I asked her, and I thought, okay, she will say no, and that's okay for me, and then I'm out of it, right? But what happened, she said, yeah, sure, let's do it if you want. And I'm like, shit, what? That's too easy. And now, what now? Now I spoke it out, now I created it. All of a sudden I was in the space of, okay, let's go to Maui. And coming back to Alex, my dear friend, he was there as well, so this helped me to make the decision. I don't think, or I'm not sure if I would have gone there just by myself. But with Alex there, you know, having this deep, intimate WhatsApp voice message relationship over years without meeting him in person was like a really cool incentive to say, hey, if I go to Hawaii, I will meet Alex. That's awesome. I will go to JP's immersive exploration, the field, which is cool, and I have everything in one place. So what I did actually, I committed. I talked to JP and said, hey, I want to come, right? And he said, yeah, let's do it. And you will see the travel to Hawaii will be already transformative for you. And he was so right, because in the last 10 years, I was not traveling by myself. I have 2 kids, Mia is 9, Noah is 7 now. For the last 10 years, I wasn't able to travel by myself for a long time. And so just the flight was like, wow, 25 hours flight just for myself. It was an amazing experience. And I learned a lot already going there. And I have heard, or I've written in the Prosperous Coach, in the Ultimate Coach from Steve Hardison, that people pay Hardison $250,000 to work with him. And one said, even if Hardison would die before we start coaching, it would be worth it. And I didn't understand what this means. I mean, I'm paying for a guy who is coaching me, so this is like the gift, this is the value. But actually what happened is once I committed to it, it's like paying such an amount of money, which was way outside of my comfort zone, plus the tickets, plus housing, which equaled like about 10,000 euros or so. This alone was like transformative. Having this commitment of, okay, I'm doing this, let's go and figure it out. And then all these miracles occurred. It's like, hey, we are 3 people joining the field. Let's find a housing, like an Airbnb. And it was pretty hard to find an Airbnb for 3 or 4 people that we were. And all of a sudden there was Reverend Daniel Aarons, who came into our group, our WhatsApp group, and said, hey, I'm living in Hawaii. I'm going to this workshop. I'm assisting JP Morgan. I have this huge house and you can all come. And just by the way, I have to move out in 2 weeks. So if you guys can help me just to get everything in the garage, because there is a garage sale before I'm leaving, it's all fine. And all of a sudden, this was sorted out. And so just these magical things started to happen and to click into place. And then I was flying in there, right? 25 hours, man, this was a trip from Vienna to London Heathrow, then San Francisco, then Maui. And I loved every minute of it. So fast forward, starting with the first day, the field. Sitting in a circle in a living room in Maui with 15 other people was just crazy. I was sitting there, it's like, what the hell am I doing here? Like flying through like half around the world. There was like a time difference of 12 hours compared to Vienna. Sitting there and talking about being, talking about what would you love to create and what is holding you back and what's your fear. And it was just mind-blowing in a way that I was there, right? I couldn't believe that I'm just there. And so this was a really, really transformative event in a way. And what was the most striking point was like, after 3 days, I woke up and I started to cry. I called my wife and said, hey, I don't know what's going on here, but something is shifting, or I'm just crying. And then I shared it in the group. And what I got out of it is kind of in the first 3 days, I didn't feel that I'm belonging. And that was not because the whole group made me not feel belonged. This was mine. I was feeling, these are all these guys, they're successful coaches. They make a lot of money. There were people who spent, 8 years in Tibet, in a monastery. And the other one was like with the guru in India. And it was so weird for me to be there in this, okay, I'm this kind of normal guy. I'm not belonging. And then something shifted, something opened up. Like, I am belonging. I am good enough to be there. And like the last day we did a hike at a huge volcano, which was like a six hours hike. I think it's called Haleakala, the biggest volcano there in the crater, which was kind of embodying the whole experience from the last couple of days. And then I was flying back home, another 25 hours. And once I was home, I really had the feeling as if a door went open to a new dimension, in a way. And what I mean by that is that I thought before, I'm like that, you know, this is like my worldview, this is how I'm seeing it. Everything is hard. I need to struggle to make a living out of being a mentor or a coach. And everything shifted. It's like, hey, maybe it's not that. Maybe there are so much more possibilities out there because I've seen it. And I guess what really was key for me is to be in the space of these guys, you know, sit next to JP Morgan, who stated in the beginning, you know, I am just a guy like you. Please use my toilet. Because, you know, we are all the same. And this made it like really, it's really hit home for me in a way of, hey, I'm belonging. I'm not not good enough. I am good enough, right? I can be that. And I can create this from the inside out, from my being. So once I got back, everything shifted in a way that I almost started to create a group. I was never bold enough to have a group program. For me, it's like I started with one-on-one, working with people, and I thought a group would be cool, but I don't know what you do, and you know, what's the structure, and what's the price, and what if people don't like it, and whatnot. And so I started a group for coaches. I called it Coach Master Circle. It wasn't summer. It's like, you know, my limiting belief was no one will have time in summer because everyone is on holiday. You know, no way. And then it's winter. Okay, in winter, oh, Christmas is coming. No one has time. So I started. I had 3 committed coaches in there. We went for 4 months every week through the whole summer. We just had a blast, and it was awesome. And people created new clients, and they started to really live their passion as a coach. So this was awesome. And then I also started like a men's circle, and this is another topic, but this sold out like in 10 days as a one-day event in Vienna. So I was back. I was starting these things. It was July 25. I was starting the Coach Master Circle. I was in this space. And then JP again said, let's have a talk. And Alex told me already that JP is creating, he calls it a Master Circle, which is a group, a small group of people every week, where it's almost like, you know, rocket fuel. This is where it really happens, like the transformations if you work with someone. And I know this for myself. So I want to work with the best coaches. The group was awesome. The 15 people, this was cool. But what if there is a possibility of working closer with JP Morgan? And so we had this call. And again, I got into this call with the intention, there is no way I'm signing up now because I spent already 10,000 euros. I'm not going to spend another one on this. And we had this call, and JP said, you know, I'm doing this Master Circle and I have you in mind, and there are a couple of other guys. What do you think about it? And I said, yeah, I don't know, probably not. What else? And then what he said is like, and that was like pure mastery and enrollment in a way, in a positive way. He didn't sell me anything. He just said, you know, you can figure it out by yourself. But what it will do is it will give you rocket fuel. You will be just faster with everything, you know. And I thought, okay, I committed to go to Hawaii to do that. So this was the first step. What if I'm not kind of being stagnant here and just take all the rocket fuel that I can get and fly with it? And so I committed again. And this time it was 20,000 euros. And this was way out of my comfort zone. This was like, I had sleepless nights about, you know, raving about this decision. Should I do it? Shouldn't I do it? And again, my wife is like, sure, do it if you want. It's like, thank you. Thank you for believing in me, or believing more in me than myself. And so I got into it. I said, yes, I committed. And again, the big learning for me was, if you commit to something that is way bigger than you're comfortable with, all of a sudden things start to shift. And I never believed this myself. I thought, oh, maybe that's a hoax, maybe this is how people frame it to make money or whatever, but it's true. Once I committed, all of a sudden, I knew I wouldn't miss any of these fucking calls that we have every week. So every week an hour, and we have 3 to 4 people in there, and JP was coaching us individually there. I will never miss one, even though we were flying on holiday. At this time it was summer. We were going 3 weeks to Taiwan. We were going 1 week to Bangkok. Due to the time zone difference to Hawaiian time, it was like 3 a.m. in the morning. I was sitting 3 a.m. in the morning at the hotel pool in Bangkok, and it was joining the sessions, and I was being coached by JP, and I was so fucking committed because I knew if I paid a shitload of money, I want to get everything out of it, and that's the huge difference. If I would have paid a couple of $100, it would be, hey, I'm tired, I'm not waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning and doing this call, but this was different. I was so committed, and I was at every call. I didn't miss any. I can remember there was one call I was late for 3 minutes because I mixed up the time zone difference with daytime saving time. But that's it. I was there, I was committed. And this was the most transformative thing I have ever encountered in my life. Not because the JP has some secret wisdom, or yes, he has some knowledge that was really helpful, but it's really like being in this space with someone who can see through your bullshit, who can see your blind spots. And there were so many topics that I couldn't see through, like in Bangkok. When I had the call, before I had the call at 3 a.m. in the morning, I was with my wife at the Sky Bar. It's the Sky Bar from the film Hangover, right? Really beautiful, and a lot of people are there taking photos. Everyone is in a good mood. And my brother-in-law took care of the kids, and he said, go out, have some fun because you need it. We were traveling already for 3 weeks. So we did that. And what happened? We didn't enjoy it. We started a fight, right? We fought about a topic about the kids and how I behaved, and I was judgmental about my wife, how she behaved, and it was a nightmare. We were standing there, everyone was cheering, and everyone was like happy, and we were standing there with our non-alcoholic cocktails as like, hey, it's just shit, I want to leave here. And I had the call then in the night with JP, and he helped me to see like how I'm behaving in these situations. And he said something like, hey, I'm glad that I'm not your wife because you're pretty judgmental here. And for me, it's like, fuck, I don't want to be that guy for my wife. I don't want to be judgmental, and now I'm seeing it. And this was so eye-opening. And the next morning, I apologized. We had a deep conversation about it, and everything was sorted out. And we never got into this problem or this issue again with our kids. And so this was like, wow, it's so cool to have someone that is just reflecting back what's happening. And in real time, you can shift your life. You can just apply the things that you're learning, apply it in your life, boom, sort it, and you can move on. And we had a lovely other week in Bangkok. And this was just one thing. There were so many transformations in myself. It's like the most fun one was, I thought I hate skiing. I was used to go skiing with my mom when I was young, and for whatever reason I have this idea of I didn't like it, even though I just watched some videos from the days back in the 90s, And it seems I had a lot of fun, but in the back of my mind, it's like, I hate skiing, I don't want to do that. So my kids started skiing last year. My wife loves skiing, and for me it's, okay, let's do it for the family. I hate it. I talked to other dads in front of the school, and they said, hey, I'm not going skiing, I'm going to the restaurant, and I'm just chilling, and they should ski because I'm not interested. And for me, it's like, oh, I would love to do that, this is awesome. But then I was like having a bad feeling about and feeling guilty of, just sitting there and not helping my wife with the kids. So this was who I was. And then I had one of the calls with JP, and we figured something out. It's like, hey, that's just a thought, and you can enjoy the things that you think you don't enjoy. It's like, I am that who enjoys things that I think I don't enjoy. And all of a sudden it's like, hey, what if I can also choose to love skiing? And so all of a sudden, I was telling this my wife, and she said, you know what? For your birthday present, you will get some ski boots from me. And I was like, ski boots? That's probably the worst birthday present I've ever gotten because I hate skiing. But then I was remembering the conversation with JP, and I said, you know what? Yeah, let's do it. I want one. I love to have my own ski boots. And then we went skiing, and all of a sudden I really enjoyed it because I saw the gift, what it can be to experience with your family, with my kids, with my wife. We had a lovely day. And by the end of the day, I said, hey, this is the most beautiful day of this year so far. I had so much fun. And it's like, hey, what's going on here? I mean, I thought 30 years I hate skiing, and now all of a sudden I can love it. That's wild, right? And there were so many different ways. So one more example with like handwriting. I always was saying to myself, I have bad handwriting. No one can read it. I don't want to use my handwriting. And this really kept me from writing in journals. And yeah, I didn't use my handwriting at all. And then I had the session with JP, and something like, hey, he shared that he also had this thought. But then he switched it. It's like, maybe there's a possibility that I have a beautiful handwriting. What if you play with that? And I started to integrate it. I started to do more handwriting, and I saw, oh, maybe if I use this pen or if I use that pen, it looks nicer. And then what happened is I started to write personal notes in a book that I gave out to in my men's circle. So we were 10 men, and I had a book, and I wrote a personal note to every participant. And I was proud of it because it looked good. I thought that's a cool way to do, and it's also a cool way to practice if I really have bad handwriting, because if someone comes up and says, hey, thanks Matthias, but I can't read it, what's that? Then I have proof, but it didn't happen. Actually, what happened, one of these guys took a photo and put it on Instagram. And it's like, holy shit, everyone can read my handwriting now, right? A month before, I would have crouched and would say, no, please delete it because I can't see my handwriting. And then what happened? A couple of days later, we had a conversation. He said, that's insane. This post got like 20,000 views. I never had any post who got so many views. And the point here is, I don't care about the views, how many people see it, but the fact is that I'm really proud of this handwriting now. And the fact that this guy, who didn't know about my bad handwriting, put a photo with my handwriting up, that's already a miracle for me. It's like, ooh, there is something going on. And I'm so grateful for that. And now I can feel into that with freedom and love, whereas before I would have been scared. Right? And it was like, no, I don't want that. No one should see my handwriting, it's bad. But now it's like, hey, wow, there is magic in it, because people just post a photo and others sees it and comment on it. So it has been such a transformative year for me, not only personally, but also in my business. You know, I 4x'd my income with my coaching business. I started, as I said, the groups. I'm more confident. I know now exactly what I can offer and what I'm offering and who I can help with. So there's so much clarity. And I do have one of these statements: I am crystal clear, guided by spirit. And I know exactly what to do. And I wasn't that before. I was struggling like 4 years with finding my way. And so everything shifted. So yeah, was it transformative? Hell yeah. It was a hell of a ride. What I've learned from it is commitment is 90%. If you commit to something that really stretches you, being it financially, being it energetically, being it spiritually, being it stretching you with time, because you might think, I don't have time for committing every week at the same time for like 8 months or for a year. I've seen this over and over for myself. I thought in the beginning, this is not possible. I don't have even a clue what I'm going to do in 2 weeks. How should this work out to be so consistent? And that's the commitment. And I think that's the key. If you commit to something so deeply that you know this is becoming your most important thing in your life, right? These calls were like, that's it. There is nothing more important. I'm not going to miss them. Doesn't matter what comes. And if you go through your life with that attitude, with that commitment towards your family, towards your kids, towards your business, towards yourself, everything starts to be possible. And this is what I've learned from JP. Being committed, being your word. You know, don't bullshit around. Don't say things that you can't hold. We're so used to just say, hey, yeah, let's meet next week for sure. I'm coming to your party. And in your head, you know already, I won't have time, but it's uncomfortable to say no. So I'm saying yes, and then I'm not showing up, right? Be your word. That's my learning from this whole journey. And it was I'm so grateful to JP. I'm grateful to Alex. I'm grateful for all the participants there in the field, especially Dan Sloan, especially Michael Manderbill, those guys who also joined the Master Circle then with me. It was just such an honor and such a pleasure to learn from you, to witness your growth, to be in this space and feeling I am belonging there as well. So, what's the point of this whole long video? I guess I wanted to share my journey, what's possible. You know, it's not about being an ambassador for JP, or I don't get any money if someone signs up for him. So I don't care about that. I just want to come from my heart and share what changed in me. And if something pulls you in any direction, just go for it, because it's worth it. If you feel the pull, it's the right way. If you feel the push and you need to push yourself into something, that never worked out for me. So yeah, thank you so much for listening to this. I love you. And yeah, life can be fucking transformative if you commit to making the first step.